The people of Ireland are set to liberalise its restrictive abortion laws by a landslide, exit polls suggested on Friday, as voters demanded change in what 2 decades ago was one of Europe's most socially conservative countries. The Irish Times, Ipsos MRBI exit poll suggested that voters in the once deeply Catholic nation had backed a referendum by a margin of 68% to 32%. A second exit poll from Behaviour turnout could be one of the highest for a referendum, national broadcaster reported, potentially topping the 61% who backed gay marriage by a large margin in 2015 as voters queued outside polling stations throughout the day in the blistering sunshine. Irish Prime Minister Leo Varadkar, who is in favour of change and has called the referendum a once-in-a-generation chance, said earlier on Friday that he was quietly confident that the high turnout was a good sign. Vote counting begins early on Saturday, with the first indication of results expected mid-morning. Voters were asked if they wish to scrap a 1983 amendment to the Constitution that gives an unborn child and its mother equal rights to life. The consequent prohibition on abortion was partly lifted in 2013 for cases where the mother's life is in danger. Ireland's Prime Minister Leo Varadkar casts his ballot in the referendum. He thinks a majority of voters will choose to liberalise abortion laws. Matt Rossi, Reuters, if the yes vote wins, the text of the 8th Amendment will be changed to read, provision may be made by law for the regulation of termination of pregnancies. Ireland legalised divorce by a razor-thin majority in 1995, but became the first country to adopt gay marriage by popular vote in a 2015 referendum. But no social issue has divided its 4.8 million people as sharply as abortion, which was pushed up the political agenda by the death in 2012 of a 31-year-old Indian immigrant from a septic miscarriage after she was refused a termination. I think this issue is important because it's been 35 years since any person has had a choice to vote, said Sophie O'Gara, 28, who is voting yes near Dublin's bustling Silicon Docks, home to some of the world's biggest technology firms. So many women have traveled to England to take care of their family and healthcare needs, and I think it's a disgrace and it needs to change, she said, referring to women who travel for abortions. Fierce campaign. The fiercely contested vote has divided political parties, seen the once mighty church take a back seat, and become a test case for how global internet giants deal with social media advertising in political campaigns. Unlike in 1983, when religion was front and center and abortion was a taboo subject for most, the campaign was defined by women on both sides publicly describing their personal experiences of terminations. Nuns prepared to cast their ballots in the referendum, which has caused sharp divisions in the country. Alex Fraser, Reuters, yes, campaigners have argued that with over 3,000 women traveling to Britain each year for terminations, a right enshrined in a 1992 referendum, and others ordering pills illegally online, abortion is already a reality in Ireland. Although not on the ballot paper, the No camp has seized on government plans to allow abortions with no restriction up to 12 weeks into a pregnancy if the referendum is carried, calling it a human rights issue and a step too far for most voters. I think it's important that we protect the unborn babies. People don't care anymore about the dignity of human life. I have a family myself and I think it's really important, said John Devlin, a marketing worker in his 50s voting no near Dublin's city centre. The Irish government's push to liberalise the laws is in contrast to the United States, where abortion has long been legal, but U.S. President Donald Trump backs stripping federal funding from women's healthcare clinics that offer abortions. Home-to-vote videos shared on social media showed scores of voters arriving home at Irish airports from abroad. Ireland does not allow expatriates to vote via post or in embassies, but those away for less than 18 months remain on the electoral roll. As with the gay marriage referendum, those using the Garda Pat Mulroy and presiding officer Nancy Sharkey carry a ballot box back to the boat to the mainland after collecting votes in Ireland's referendum on liberalising abortion law, on Gola Island. Max Rossi, Reuters. Judith Taylor, a women and gender studies professor at the University of Toronto, was in Ireland in 1992, when the abortion rules were being challenged. Taylor told CBC's Carol McNeil that she thinks this vote was very poignant because of the young people's voices in it. Official turnout figures aren't yet available, but the Irish Times reported that a large number of young people were reported to be casting ballots, being able to get health care locally, being able to make decisions with their doctors. This will be a fundamental difference, Taylor said. People who voted no haven't lost their right to protest and lobby against abortion, Taylor said. The official results in the vote are expected Saturday. Clodagh Kilcoyne, Reuters. They can still ask people to consider carefully what they want to do with their bodies and what they want to do to their pregnancies. That isn't lost to them. Ahead of the vote, many people posted photos of themselves wearing sweatshirts bearing the repeal slogan. Women and girls should not be made into healthcare refugees when they are in a time of crisis, said Niamh Kelly, 27, who paid €800 and traveled 20 hours to return home from Hanoi, where she works as an English teacher. This is a once-in-a-lifetime generation chance to lift the culture of shame that surrounds this issue, so it was really important to me to be part of that.